Hi everyone, it's Carla and we're back with another video. Today I'm super excited because we are going to be making these super cute baby bell bottoms. I actually made these in a 6 to 9 month size and they are so cute. Oh, give me baby fever. But this is the Samantha Marie, I think that's what it's called, Samantha Marie pattern. It was super quick to make up. Literally, if you have spare fabric leaving around, you need to make a bunch of these because they are so quick and they are so beginner friendly as well. So if you want to learn how to make these, then stay tuned. Alright, so as always, we are going to start with the pattern pieces. Now this is the Daphne bell bottoms, and here is what the pattern piece looks like, in case you were wondering how to tape it up and whatnot. And then this is the little bell bottom, the circle piece at the bottom. Now you will notice that I'm using a bigger size for the pants than for the bottoms. This is just because I don't want to hem the circle bells. You can decide if you want to hem them or not, but since I'm not going to hem them, I just chose to go with the size smaller for the circles than I did for the pants. But it's up to you. And then you will notice that the pants portion does have a elastic waistband portion, or you can choose to do the knit waistband, which is what I like to do. And if you're not a regular viewer, then you don't know this, but if you are a regular viewer, then you know that I love to use the Big Noggin baby waistband from the Bummies pattern that they have. I just find that it's true to size, and I like to keep things consistent in my shop, and for my child too. You know, I like to know that the waistband is going to fit no matter what. So I'm using their waistband. I'll link both patterns down below. And I'm just going to fold my paper to the 6 to 9 month size. I always just kind of print one waistband, and then I fold it to whatever size I need. So since this is a newly printed waistband, I'm going to go ahead and fold it up for y'all. So there we go, the 6 to 9 month waistband for that as well. And now, since this is a bell bottom, a bell bottom pattern, I'm going to show you how to cut this pattern, just because it is a little different when it comes to the circle bells at the bottom. But I also want to show you how to cut a normal pants pattern. This is normally what a pants pattern will come as, you know, if you're trying to do leggings or maybe joggers or something like that. This all is just encompasses one leg, so you can kind of picture that's one leg, and then this is the crotch version, or the crotch area. So we're going to be working with this beautiful rib knit. I'm used to working with rib knit. This beautiful distressed fabric. And pro tip, if you are going to be sewing regularly, I like to fold my fabric to where the right sides of the fabrics is already touching, just because it makes it easier for when we get to sew. We don't have to, you know, take them apart and then try to put them right sides together again. So I am going to go ahead and place this part, and I pretty much folded it perfectly. So you just want to make sure that you're using the width of the pattern piece, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut it all around, and then I'll come back. Oh, and by the way, I've been loving just locking my rotary cutter blade out. You definitely want to be careful with this, but it's such a time saver to just be like, instead of having to manually keep, I don't know, I feel like the grip kind of gets tiring after a while. So if you're cutting a lot, I do prefer to just go like this and then just bam, 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 you know? Those quick and dirty tips, they're always going to be here. So then, as I mentioned, when you have your pattern pieces cut out, they'll already be right sides together and they're just bam, ready to sew. And another thing for this pattern, you are going to want to make sure that you keep track of which is the top of the pants and which is the bottom, so that when you're sewing, you know which part to put the bells on. But for this pattern, it's pretty easy. It's just the straight edge is going to be where you add the bells, and then this more slanted part is where you're going to add the waistband. So just keep that in mind when you're starting to sew. Next, I'm going to cut the waistband, since I already have like this general area that looks big enough for the waistband. And again, I just like to fold it right sides together, and then it's going to be the width of the pattern piece. Oh, I went a little overboard there. That time, I mean. But here we go. Okay, now that's perfect. So I'm going to cut this out and then come back. Okay, I put the waistband aside, and now we're at the fun part, which is cutting out these little circle bells at the bottom. So you will notice with this pattern piece that there's 2 fold lines. So that means you're going to have to fold your fabric twice over. But when I'm working with bells, or I mean with any pattern generally, I like to fold my fabric up and do it to where I only have to fold it once and then get both of my pieces out, much like I did with the pants part of the pattern. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So first we are going to fold our fabric up like this, and then we're going to decide if it's going to be wide enough. It might not be wide enough with this, what's it called? It might not be wide enough to fold it up this way, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fold it the other way. So depending on how much fabric you have, this will work a little bit differently, but it's still the same concept. So I'm going to fold it up about the height of my pattern piece here. And with these bells, it's really important that you don't get any of this white edge if you're using custom fabric. So about there should be good. And then as I mentioned, I'm going to fold this over so that I have enough for 2 pieces. So we're going to measure 1 piece, then around 2 pieces, and this is where you want to fold it. So around here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And bring it over. And the key here is to make sure that all your layers are, you know, nicely folded up. And now we're going to fold it over once again. So now when I have that fold and I cut my pattern piece out, I'm going to get both bells out of this one cut, which is my favorite. I love just folding up fabric and getting multiple pieces out of that fold. Like, that is what I live for. Okay, I went a little bit too far over, so that's the only thing with this, is you really want to be precise so that you're not missing any parts or creating, what's it called, any weird bits that aren't going to be cut off seamlessly. But I think this is it now. So I'm just looking through all the layers to make sure that there isn't going to be, like, this is the spot that I was concerned about, but it looks like we're clearing it up. So again, with this pattern, we need to cut on the fold, cut on the fold. So that's what that means. It means these 2 folds. So like, here's the fold of fabric and here's the fold of fabric. And as I mentioned, we are going to get 2 bells out of this. For bells, since I'm not going to hem them, I really like to make sure that my blade is nice and sharp. And I like to put my hand all over the bell so that there isn't any, like, weird lumps and bumps. Whew. Kind of worked up a little sweat there. Just kidding. I really have to push for these cuts. And then for this, it's not as important to get it, like, nice and precise. So I'm just going to, bam, cut it. And as I mentioned, now we have 2 bell bottoms. Bam and bam. So that's what those look like. Okay, so now we have our 2 bell bottom pieces, our waistband piece, and our pants portion of this pattern. We're going to put the waistband and the bells aside, and we're going to focus on the pants. So the first, also make sure that you disengage your blade now that it's not in use. You don't want to cut yourself. So I'm going to start out and go with the sewing now. So we're going to sew down the crotch areas. Here's the front crotch and the back crotch. Or maybe I got those mixed up. Whichever ones they are. No, this is the front crotch. So we're going to sew bam this curve and bam that curve. And if you're using a serger, you just want to make sure that you're lining it up nicely, and the same with your sewing machine. I don't know why I said if you're going to use a serger. You should line it up pretty good if you're going to be using any sewing machine. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you're worried about this curve, all you really need to do is manipulate your fabric and just straighten it out. You see how easy that is? Like, just push this fabric out of the way and just straighten it out. You're not necessarily stretching anything, but just in case you feel kind of weird about that curve, don't worry about it. Just move it out, straighten it, and you'll be good to go. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do that and come back. Okay, I'm back with the sewn portion of these bell, so I just went ahead, like I mentioned, did both curves. Now remember when I said that you want to make sure that you know which is which in terms of the top and the bottom, so just make sure that you're doing these curves with the slanted side and not these curves with the straight side. Okay, so next we're going to just go ahead and move on to the waistband. I'll let you do the waistband next. So much like the pants, we're going to take these right sides together and sew them down here where the raw edges are, and then we will come back. Okay, so once you have your waistband, you just want to bring out the right side of it and kind of form it into this little loop like this, where all of the raw edges are lined up. So just something like this. And then you want to take note of this back seam right here. This is going to be the back of our pants waistband. And now we're going to look at this back curve. It's going to be the one that's less sloped, so just that one. And then you can either pin it if you want to pin it. If you've never done a waistband, I would just pin it in the back of this, and so that you make sure that everything is lining up. And then find the center and then pin it right where the center front of the pants is, like this. And then what's it called? You can also do the left and right, but with this you're only going to have to stretch it like very slightly, so I feel like 2 pins is enough. But I'm just going to go ahead and go row, you know, these fast and dirty methods, and all I need to do is just find where my seams are going to line up and make sure that they're butted up against each other, one seam going one way, the other seam going the other way, and then just kind of go for it. And then once I start sewing, I just stretch it out a little bit. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do, and then I'll come back. So with that little hack of butting up the edges, you get literally the perfect seam. Like, that could not be any better. So now we're done with the waistband. I just like to get, you know, that out of the way so that now I know exactly where my bells are going to go. Sorry about some random thread in there. But now I know where my bells are going to go and everything. So the next step is to take the legs, you know, kind of spread them apart, and then line up these edges as well, these raw edges. Do the same thing with these seams where one's going one way and the one's going the other way. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and sew this down too. And believe it or not, we just have to attach the bells, and then unless you're hemming, you're done. Okay, so here is what our little bell bottoms are looking like. So cute. This size is literally so small, giving me baby fever. But next up, all I'm going to do is open up one of my bells, just like this, and I'm going to kind of hold it up like this. And then what you need to do is these raw edges need to touch these raw edges. So I'm just going to stick it in through the waist and bring it up like this. And then you're essentially going to just sew these two pieces together, making sure that your pieces are right sides together and that all the edges are lining up, and you just go for it. And see, just like that. So all you need to do is just sew all the way around for both legs, and then we will be done with this tutorial. All right, y'all, here they are, the cutest little baby bell bottoms. Bam! Whoop bam! I literally love this fabric so much. I think I need to start using it more often. But that is literally it for this video. Again, unless you're going to hem, you are absolutely done. Such a quick sew, such a quick project. Definitely super cute. And yeah, that is it for this video. So if you have any additional questions, do let me know in the comments. If they get turned off, I'm sorry. I don't know what happens sometimes. But other than that, stay tuned for new videos. And thank you all so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.